Today we will be drawing this Hanuman in Procreate. So let's get started. I'm Ankush Verma. I draw traditionally and digitally. If you enjoyed this video, please hit a like and subscribe and share with your friends. Let's get started. Open a blank canvas and the pencil I'm using here is a Procreate pencil under sketching section. So grab that pencil. Let's start with the basic anatomy first, drawing some basic shapes. Here you can see I'm drawing some basic shapes for the head and the chest, keeping the anatomy as firm as possible. For the shoulders, start with the circle, 2 round circles. For the abdominal area, just add the basic lines. Keep the shapes very loose at this step. The only part we are trying to figure out is the pose of the character, how the pose is going to be. At this time we are making it to look like a superhero, so we're going to give him a pose of standing firmly on the ground with a mace in the hand. Just overall, think of the overall shapes and overall anatomy. So once we have this outline structure defined, let's add some clothing. For the blue part, in the blue you can see I'm trying to add some cloth structure to the basic forms. So something on the shoulder, on the waist, underneath the waist. Once I'm happy with this, let's create a new layer and then put it opacity very low. On the new layer, we're gonna do the penciling. For this I'm using a black pencil, starting with the head. Define the eyes and the nose first and the mouth, because that's how you're gonna capture the expressions. So just starting with the head, just draw some basic outlines. So now I'm adding more details with the clothes, defining how the clothes are gonna be, defining all the muscles in the body, all the different parts of the body, making it very firm. So here I'm almost done with the pencil staging. The next step would be the inking, where all the details will be added with inks. So let's get to the next steps. So we are now going to add a new inking layer. For that, first reduce the pencil opacity to about 14 to 15%. Create a new layer on top of that and start inking. For the inking, I'm going to use a black ink. You can use any inking tool available by default. Start with the nose and the head, defining the eyes and the nose. Locking that expression is very important. At this point, think of any of the details you want to add, how the hairs are gonna look like, what are the different elements that Hanuman has. You can see I added beads in this step, but later on in the video you'll see I'll replace that with the cloth. Again, go over the pencils and add the details. So at this point the final structure is done, the final pose with all the details in the clothes, in the muscles, in the weapon, and everything is defined. We're going to go to the next step in adding up the absolute blacks and adding up some more details, intricate details in the designs. So here you can see I'm adding some details in the mace. Now we're going to proceed to the next step, which is coloring. For that, first lock your layer and then create a new layer. This coloring layer will be underneath the inking layer. Let's start with the skin color. So I'm going to use some basic skin tones. Start with the very raw fresh skin, a very light coat. So here the method I'm using is drag and drop and click. You can also fill in the color, but just to speed up the process, I dragged in some colors and I'm now selecting where the skin parts are. After doing the skin, now proceeding to the clothes. For the cloth, I'm creating a new layer. And the color swatches I'm using is a tone of red, orange and yellow. I think that color suits really good for any cloth texture for Hanuman. So here you can see I'm using different variations of orange, adding up a tint of red, and using yellow as well. Now for the gold part, where I want anything gold, I'm using a gold yellow color. I'm using it for the mace and some parts of the clothes, highlights with the gold, for the bell and any element that I want to be a gold element. For the hair, I selected a dark brown color. We'll also highlight that with a little bit of red and white in there, but the base tone I'm using for the hair, both in the tail and the head, is a very dark brown color. So now for the beads in the neck and the thread, for the beads I'm using a lighter brown with a reddish tone. I think this gives a good contrast. And then for the thread, I'm using a pure white color. We're gonna add some shadows and highlights in the next step, but for the base color, I'm using white for the thread. Now the next step is really to add the shadows and highlights. For this one, you need to think of where the light source is coming from. In this case, I'm keeping the light source coming out to be from the top right side. So anything pointing to the top right side is gonna be dark, is gonna be light, and anything opposite to that is gonna be dark. Now adding some textures, highlights and shadow to the cloth as well. You can also see I have added some textures which will make it look like a grunge, and adding some patterns, cloth patterns. For the gold, making it look like 3D, adding some highlights and shadows. For the tail, adding more colors, defining a 3D depth, and final texture in the cloth floating around. Now let's add a background. For the background, I chose a very light brown color and adding some textures value with a texture brush. This texture brush really helps in defining and filling up the larger areas. You can use it for any of the background stuff. Now here I have decided to add some elements of power in the mace. I thought it would be a good idea to showcase the strength and power of Hanuman, and then we can show it via depicting it flowing through the mace. It's a powerful weapon, so I'm adding some lightning effect to the mace, kind of making it feel like the lightning is striking, getting ready for the next charge. So adding some lightning effect in the mace, this gives a very cool effect and pop up the character a bit more. Now I thought background was little subtle, so adding some flowing clothes texture in the background and adding some diya elements. Diya is gonna reflect the light source, so adding some light elements in the background from which the light is gonna be reflecting on the character. Alright, so we are done here, and here is the final look.